What's going on, all of you outstanding Outriders? My name is William, and by now you've either already beaten the campaign or are getting close to beating the campaign, and now what are you supposed to be doing? Well, sufficient to say there is a lot left to do in Outriders once you've beaten the main game, and we have some tips and tricks for those of you who have been grinding the endgame. Some things you may not have even known about. But before we get into all of that, I wanted to say a very special thank you to today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid recently celebrated its 2-year anniversary, going from being a small collection of epic characters to expanding their roster to over 500 champions. Not to mention, it is the #1 mobile RPG in the US. Over 1 million players daily, 2 billion battles waged, and a huge community of absolute legends. Raid wanted to make sure that it had the opportunity to thank all of its awesome players for the songs and competitions, the cosplay, the content creators helping the player community, and all the other good times. One of my favorite things going on in the game right now has been the events and tournaments for the 2-year anniversary, and if you're fast enough, you might be able to still catch some of them. Plus, there is a new faction recently added to the game, the Shadow Kit, and 2 new Doom Tower bosses. If you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is hit the link in the description or scan the QR code right here. And if you're a new player, you'll get a free epic champion, Jotun, who is absolutely amazing for the Doom Tower. 100,000 silver, 50 gems, and 3 ancient shards, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in-game. You will find your extra rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days only. A very special thank you once again to Raid for sponsoring today's video. And without further ado, let's get back into it. So you have beaten the main campaign, you've gotten your legendary weapon, and now you're ready to set out into the endgame content. Well, I wouldn't say you're quite ready to do all the expeditions quite yet. There are still a number of legendary items for you to grind for long before you go into the expeditions. However, there is nothing stopping you from going into them immediately. But first and foremost, I strongly encourage you all go and do the following things in order before you hop into expeditions, just to give yourself a little bit more of a boost and to make sure you are ready for that endgame content. First and foremost, you need to unlock all 15 of the world tiers. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, world tiers don't matter in the endgame expeditions, and you wouldn't technically be wrong, especially considering you're leveling up a new type of quote-unquote world tier leveling system. You need to unlock all of the world tiers, primarily because from Torment to Nightmare to Insanity to Madness, you will get a legendary weapon for completing each one of these world tiers. Additionally, it increases the dropped item level from 9 to 10 to 11, and finally 12, allowing you to equip level 42 gear. And trust me when I say it, that makes a huge difference in the expeditions. Plus, while you're out and about trying to get these world tier levels unlocked, your legendary drop rate modifier bonus has gone up as well, up to 300%. So who knows, along the way another legendary may drop. The fastest way, of course, to unlocking all of these world tier difficulties is to do the following 3 things, which, it's kind of obvious. Complete all the side quests, do all the monster hunts, and do all the head hunting. What's cool about after you complete all of the head hunts and all the monster hunts is you will get a legendary item after completing them. Now that's not one per, that's after you've completed all of them and turned them into their respective quest givers. After completing them all, they will reward you with a legendary item. And if you have already hit world tier level 15, by the time you go turn that stuff in, well, bada bing, bada boom, they will drop at level 42, the highest you can possibly get. Another thing I recommend you be mindful for after you complete the main game is to keep an eye on your mod collection. Mods are vital for endgame builds, and even a really crappy legendary item contains a level 3 mod. I've dismantled a number of my legendaries because, well, they're just not good. However, they do give me a fair bit of titanium, some shards, and of course, their level 3 unique mod. And slap those onto any epic weapon or epic armor piece, and you'll be good to go. Once you've completed all of this and are heading into expeditions, or hell, if you're already in expeditions, there are a few things to be mindful of. The Outriders team has been doing their very best to prevent this from happening, but there have been a number of inventory wipes from the matchmaking system. What that means is if you randomly join up with somebody, or I've even seen cases where you join up with your friends, there is a small risk that your inventory may get wiped at the end of the mission or at the very beginning of the mission. I've seen it happen in both cases. One of my buddies actually lost all of his gear just the other day. And while the dev team has said that they are going to try their best to restore everyone's gear, the issue seems to still be happening even after these updates. So, play at your own risk with others. It's not a tremendous deal, but I can imagine that it would suck if your entire inventory was wiped. When it comes to expeditions, I do strongly encourage you go in with a full team. I have had my butt handed to me left and right inside of these expeditions doing them solo, and to anyone who can do them on their own, hey, kudos to you. You are a far better player than me. But yeah, the bottom line moral of the story with Outriders for the endgame, really the final bit of the endgame is collect all the mods, dismantle all the legendaries, or keep the legendaries, perfect your build, and go home smiling. Hopefully there will be a DLC and more content drops in the future, but for now I can imagine the dev team has their hands a little full with some of these bugs and issues. I'll be doing a review of Outriders here before too much longer. I just want to get a couple more hours in and truly get a feel for the endgame with friends before I give my final thoughts. That said, this feels an awful lot like what Anthem Next was going to be. From the skill trees, to how the legendaries worked, everything. But that is for another video. How far have you all gotten into Outriders? Have you completed the campaign? What are your thoughts on the endgame as a whole? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below, and as always, I will reply if there is conversational potential, and if I have the time. And if you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date on all things about Outriders, then please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it really does help me out and allows me to reach more Outriders just like you. I hope all of you outstanding Outriders have an absolutely awesome day as always. And I look forward to seeing each and every last one of you in the next video very soon.